Hey everybody, this is Rizon from increaser.org, and today I want to talk about what I've done in the last sprint, what is the current state of the app, and what I'm going to do next. So the first task I've done is that I removed all mentions of Pomodoro word from the interface because Increaser now is more of a time tracker, time management app, and Pomodoro association is actually bad for the app because Pomodoro is associated with something super simple and free. To explain users that every session goes with a project, I added an extra step to the onboarding sequence that asks for project name, and now user would understand that it is a time tracker, there is a project associated with every set. After that, I removed a view that showed time picker because it lowered conversion, and I talked about this in the last sprint. So right now there is an option to select either stopwatch mode or timer mode on the last step, and even now I could see that conversion get better, and we will see more clearly in the next sprint. One of the tasks for the last sprint was to implement a new row design of how alternative flow could look, where user select project first and then he could choose either timer mode or focus mode. Right now the flow is different. User just starts a focus mode, and after that he selects what he worked on in the last session. I tried different approaches and I draw some variation of how the app will look, but I realized that it only makes it harder because there are extra steps involved. So right now you could start a stopwatch with a click of one button, but if I would introduce something different, it will add attention at the beginning because you will need to select a project and then select a mod. It is pretty much the same, but with current approach it's easier to start. It is not a problem to select project afterwards. So I spent quite some time and I changed the onboarding flow. So right now onboarding flow doesn't mean the reality. On the onboarding you select project and then start the timer, and in the app it's different. But I think it's not a big problem. We could see that the number of new visitors goes down with every sprint, and it is the time to try something, to think about distribution, because without this there no possibility to make a good product and make profitable app. Because look, in terms of market, there is market. People use the app and they give good feedback, they like it and help them. In terms of business model, it's also there. There's paid membership, it works. Not everybody ready to pay, but if you're not ready, maybe you need something different. But distribution is really tricky because there is no app to put in App Store. If I knew that, I would start with native app for sure. But back then I didn't thought about it, and right now it's too late to start an app for this. And in terms of organic search, is really bad because time tracker, time management usually associated with some corporate tools, and they had so many resources to fight for every keyword, and there's need alternative approach, and we will talk about this a little bit later, but it would be a focus for the next sprint because it is not good. Last two sprint sign-up conversion get lower, and let me show you what we have in amplitude here. So as you can see, the number of finished sign-up goes down and sign-up conversion too, and we can see that it's around like 40% of people play Lens in Video, and here we could see a huge drop. So when people finish Lens in Video, it's less likely that they will convert in the app. So that's really bad. So video is bad. Like we need to fix it, right? And the same here. And there is a distribution of at what time people close the video, and we could see that very rarely people watch longer than 10 seconds or so. So that's really bad. So it is the second focus for the next sprint. And that's it. So we will focus on distribution and sign-up conversion by trying to update the video. In terms of other metrics, this metric got lower, but I think it's associated with an extra step added to the onboarding that is removed now. In terms of membership, it's really good. There are 4 new members, but I think it's more of an anomaly because metric doesn't go up. We can see that everything's pretty much the same. Plus, not every membership is the same. So for example, this sprint I had a new member who had 50% off, so it makes around like $1 a month, right? So there's huge difference. So some members could bring like up to $4 a month, and some would bring $1 a month because the price varies depending on where you are. So yeah, but it is good, but I don't think that it's sustainable. It's it could be that the next sprint it would be minus or 0, right? So there's a lot of work need to be done because it's not really good. It's just more of an anomaly, I think. There are 3 tasks for the next sprint. So the first one is to leverage existing side projects to promote Increaser. So I have my blog at geekradio.com/blog, and I have booksconcept.com. Books Concepts, it's not really reliable. I feel like it could be closed at any moment. Basically, it just highlights a book I've read, and it's not like my content or anything. Just I brought the main parts of the book and squeeze it so that it's like 10 minutes read of the most important parts, so that if you listened audiobook or something, you could go to booksconcept.com and read through the main topics of this book. So that's why I think it's useful. And geekradio.com/blog is all my article, mostly about programming or mathematics that I wrote back then. I like for the last 2 years, I almost didn't wrote anything. Maybe from time to time, but not that active as I used to be. Right now, there are around like 70 people coming to my blog. And I think to add an element where there's like my head will pop up from the side. I don't want to do this models and stuff like from the side, and I will ask like, do you want to get more efficient, right? And if a reader will answer yes, I would either redirect him or will show like, hey, I work on Increaser, go check it out. And then for sure, I will add analytics because it's really important and it is easy to track, and I think it could be tweaked and it could be a good source, but I'm not quite sure. Right now, there is already a huge view of Increaser at the end of every blog or books concept, but I don't think that many people go to the end and see it. So we'll see how it will work out. I don't have huge expectation. It would be cool if maybe like 10 visitors a day will come to Increaser from these sources. It would be great because like 10 visitors, like if you multiply it to our sprint of 14 days, it will be plus 140 new visitors, and it would be great, I think. The second task is to update scenario in the video. I want to remove the first part where like ask you, do you want to be more productive, more efficient, get work done, stuff like that. And maybe I will go straight to the app and what app does and updates scenario just to test it out. And if it still have low conversion, I would consider searching for an expert who does this kind of videos and paying him to make a good quality one for Increaser. And the last step is to implement automations that will do cold outreach on LinkedIn, because this week I also made a little bit of research on who uses Increaser. I wrote a simple script that took people that had more than 100 focused hours in the app. From what I thought, majority are students, quite a bit of students that have free membership because I gave them, but I also found that researchers use it. I should focus more on people that do research, academic work, because much closer to the type of a person that for the most part do focused work. I want to try this, and I want to write people on LinkedIn and say like, hey, I work. Do you want to get really productive or work on this app? And if they will connect with me, I will send them a link to the app, something like that. I already sent maybe 200 of such messages in the past 2 weeks, but it's manual work, and I have already some logic for this in a LinkedIn connector. So maybe I will reuse it and write a simple automation that goes through every person in the search and message them. I hope LinkedIn won't block me. That's it for the sprint. There's like very important task for the next sprints, and talk with you later. Stay productive.